guys, it's Alice and today it is time for my August book haul. As you may know, I went to London earlier this month and I did some damage and I got quite a lot of books. So most of these are from there and then I've got a couple of others as well. I also ended up adding like 40 books to my TBR because I just wandered around bookshops so much. But these are the books that I actually did end up picking up. First, I've got two nonfiction books, and the first one is Votes for Women by Jenny Murray. This book is about the pioneers and heroines of female suffrage in Britain, and I just thought this could be a good introduction to the most important women of this movement, because I don't actually know that much about them or female suffrage in general, really. I think the only person I'd heard of in here was Mary Wollstonecraft, but I don't know that much about her, so I'm excited to learn more about her as well as the other women in here. The second one is Breaking and Entering by Jeremy N. Smith. This is true crime, I believe, and it's the story of this hacker called Alien, and she has had an extraordinary career. I think the book starts off when she starts MIT in the 90s and is quickly caught up in all types of adventures, and eventually she is recruited by this top cybersecurity firm. I think reading about a female hacker sounds really cool, and I also very rarely read about these types of things, so I'm very excited about it. Then moving on to fiction books, the first one I got was The Toymakers by Robert Dinsdale. This book came out last year, I think, or the year before, and it sort of made the rounds on BookTube, and I just never got around to picking it up, but I have now. It's a historical fiction novel, and it's about this toy shop in London in 1917, I think, and it's a place where children can come and their dreams can come true and the impossible becomes possible. I feel like this is going to be perfect to read during wintertime, so I think I might try and read it then. Next, we have got this lovely edition of Washington Black by Essie Adujan. I was really happy when I found this edition because all the other ones that I've seen of this book are massive. They're beautiful, but they're massive, and this felt a little bit more manageable, and the font isn't like annoyingly tiny, which sometimes happens when publishers make a really big book into a small paperback. Anyways, this is a historical fiction novel, and it's about this 11-year-old slave who is on Barbados, and I think that he is chosen to be his master's brother's manservant, and he is really nervous about what awaits him doing that. But then I think this brother turns out to be like this scientist, an explorer, and they go on some sort of adventure, which sounds very exciting. Then we've got another beautiful edition of a book, and it is Salt Slow by Julia Armfield. This is a short story collection, and it's apparently all about women and their experiences in society. And I think it has a little bit of a magical realism thing going on in it, because I think one of the stories involves a woman who turns into an insect, and then another one is about a man who turns into stone, which sounds very intriguing. Up next, I got XX by Angela Chadwick. This is a sort of dystopian novel, and it's about a lesbian couple who partake in a trial that may allow them to have a child without a man, and just that sounds so interesting to me. I think the book sort of focuses on their personal struggle, and this becomes public and the backlash is extraordinary, and I think that sounds really interesting because I'm sure it'll be filled with all kinds of fascinating discussions, and I'm hoping this is going to be really thought-provoking. Then we have got Everything Under by Daisy Johnson. I've heard loads of amazing things about this book, and I didn't know this when I picked it up, but apparently this is a retelling of the Oedipus myth, and I love Greek myth retellings, so that makes me even more excited. It's about this woman who grew up with her mother on a houseboat, but then when she's a teen, I think her mother abandons her, and then when she's an adult, she has tried to like get over all of this, but then one day she gets a call from her mother. Next, I got one of the Penguin Essentials, and it is Age of Iron by J.M. Coetzee. This is set in Cape Town in South Africa, and it's about this classics professor who is dying of cancer and has always been opposed to apartheid, but has never been sort of confronted with it until now. I really haven't read a lot of books set in South Africa or about apartheid, so I'm really intrigued to get into this. Then we have got this little book called The Little Snake by A.L. Kennedy. This is about a young girl who is born in this beautiful city filled with gardens, and she becomes best friends with this golden snake. And throughout this, we see both their friendship and the city evolve, which sounds really weird, but also kind of intriguing. The last 3 books I've got are all cozy mysteries because we're moving into fall and it's the perfect time to read these types of books. The first one is The Prime of Miss Dolly Green by E.V. Hart. This is set in southwest London on this lane filled with cottages, and in one of these cottages lives a professional tarot reader. And one day she reads the cards of this woman, and while she's doing that, she gets a vision of this woman covered in blood. But she doesn't say anything, and then a few days later, the body of this woman is discovered. The second one I picked up was The Mitford Murders by Jessica Fellows. This is set in 1919, and it's about this woman who sort of runs away from London to get away from her uncle, and she gets a position as a chaperone for the Mitford sisters. And then I think they get entangled in the crimes of a murderer when a nurse is killed on a train in broad daylight. And who doesn't love a good murder on a train? Lastly, we have got The Shape of Water by Andrea Camilleri. This is translated from Italian by Stephen Sartorelli, and it's the first book in the Inspector Montalbano series. It's set in a fictional town in Sicily, and the mystery is about this engineer who is found dead in this super shady area, but his death is from natural causes, so the police aren't really looking into it, except the inspector, of course, who thinks there's something else going on. I've actually already read this book, and I'm really happy I discovered the series because I really liked it. Okay guys, those are all the books that I got in August. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you want to read any of them, and I will see you soon. Bye!